I have got a jam-packed interview with a friend of mine named Rick. And you're going to want to watch this because he spills the beans on his agency, how he did $15,000 monthly recurring revenue over a weekend. He jumps into his pitch deck and shows you his pitch deck. He shows you how he pitches his agency, how he demos his software. He shows you his pricing, his offer, what's included. So you are going to want to watch this entire interview because most of the time, content information like this you would only find in a course. This guy's too busy crushing it to think about creating a course. So pay attention, grab a notebook because you're gonna want to take some notes. This is a guy, he's been doing it since 2008 and he's a black belt at this game. So enjoy. By the way, if you are not a subscriber yet to this channel, get subscribed, hit that notification bell so you can get informed about other content like this because we're here to help you. We want you to win in the agency game, and it's content like this that we are on a mission to provide. So check it out. What's up, everybody? Rick and I met 2 years ago, two level ups ago. So not quite 2 years ago.
Tons of Facebook messages back and forth, but we finally got to meet in person.
Yeah, man. Yeah, and that's right. So we met digitally, as is the case in the agency space. And at the time, you were in the martial arts space mostly, I think. Is that right?
A little bit between fitness and martial arts.
Yeah, that's right. You were mostly, you were kind of the fitness side of things, right? Doing well there, building your agency there, and we kind of hit it off because I'm pre-jujitsu, but I'm very interested in jujitsu, and you're a black belt. You're a legit black belt in jujitsu, and so we hit it off there too. But before we get too far into this, you came back. I mean, we've obviously been in contact for a while, but you came back into my focus here because of a post that you did in the high level group of a pretty epic outcome. And by the way, it's an outcome that's kind of, for some people to consider, it seems crazy. You did it. You're actually doing this. So what did you post in the comment in the thread below below the post?
I saw a post, a guy, I think he was debating between Fly and UpHex or something like that, and he was like, "Which one do you like or whatever?" And right when I saw that post, I love UpHex, I love you, so I was gonna be like, "Hey, UpHex," But then I thought about it, and really I was like, what really makes the difference between these two programs is really whichever one you believe in the most and you sell the most. So it could be either one could work for you. It's just, are you going to put the effort, right? And so I just commented, I was like, hey, I'm loyal to UpHex because I sold 15 grand in it last week. Yeah. That's what matters to me. The loyalty of which one's better, which one gave me the revenue, which one was I able to sell? That's the one I like the most, right?
Yeah, that's right. So you did 15 grand in a weekend using the UpHex model. Yep. And I was like, okay, well, we can't not talk about that. We got to talk about this. There's a lot of people that want to know how you did, all that kind of stuff. So that kind of brought us here today. But before we do that, tell us a little bit about you, agency background, and we'll lead into how you were able to do this and maybe what you're doing today, the model you're pursuing today.
I personally, I've been in high level since 2018. So when I first got in there, didn't have landing page, any of that. I started with ClickFunnels and Russell Brunson and those guys. So I had what I now see is a gigantic advantage over a lot of the people that are in GHL right now. So I got into the agency space in 2008 in automotive and learned digital marketing and all these different elements. And for 10 years was building my knowledge and my skill set. And I was selling and doing presentations on Zoom call and all of the skills that you need right now as an entrepreneur to sell a lot of these programs. And so I already had a gigantic skill set that was really, in my opinion, the most valuable, because if you can't sell, none of this really matters. And so then sometime around 2015, maybe, I started looking at Russell Brunson and ClickFunnels. And my jujitsu gym owner at the time came to me. It's like, hey, Rick, you're a marketing guy. Could you do some marketing for us? And I was like, I don't know what I'm doing as far as running ads. Like, I'll do it for free. If we get good results, you can pay me and we can talk about it then, right? Blew it up. Worked immediately, right away. So basically, I looked at Russell stuff, made a nice little landing page. I bought a course on how to run Facebook ads for martial arts from a guy named Matt Arroyo, followed the course, built the ads, it worked. And I was like, oh, cool. And then, of course, they told another person, and that guy told another person, that person
Yep.
told another person. But I was working a part-time job. And so I sat around 2, 3, 4 grand a month for like 3 or 4 years. And then somehow, some way, I don't remember exactly, I got introduced to GHL. And so I started looking into it because the old school model, I was doing landing pages connected to Zapier, connected to some texting software and some email software. I can't even remember. And all I remember is every time something went wrong, I had to check 5 systems to figure out exactly where it broke. And onboarding was painful. It was such a long process. And I was like, man, this is like really hard. I was, working 40, 50 hours just to make 2 or 3 grand.
Yeah.
So then when I heard about GHL, I jumped on board and I was like, oh, this is like an all-in-one place thing. And I also jumped in a time in GHL when they were babies. I'm one of the first 1,000 customers. Looking at my relationship number, I talked about that to Sean the other day. And I got in a time when they helped personally. I mean, Sean jumped on Zoom calls with me on a regular basis. So for me, that's why I will always be loyal to GHL, because when I had nothing and I was not a tech guy and I didn't even know how to go to inspect mode on your computer, Sean was on a Zoom, the owner of the company, showing me how to do it. And I was like, man, this guy's like something else. So I'll be loyal to those guys forever. So then I was building my agency, got a couple of clients, but I just couldn't make it work. And really the thing to me that pushed me over the edge is I got bent out of shape at my old boss. That's the thing that I tell people all the time. There comes a point when you have to get absolutely fed up. And for me, I have to get insulted. When I got insulted, I was like, Rick, is this what we come to? Are we going to just accept this, or do we believe in ourselves? And I decided at that moment that I believed in myself more than I was cared about that 6-figure job. I said, I know I can go out and do this. If I just put all the same effort I put into here, into my business, I know I can do it. I believe in that. And that's what I did. And I went in and I went full in. I built my brand, built my business, got referrals from customers, and then just started growing. I started in the fitness industry, met a couple strategic partners that kind of helped me get started in that. And then they eventually exited. They were kind of like some investors and helpers, and then started growing from there. And kind of the rest is history, right? Just grinding through the Facebook groups like everybody else did, trying all the tools, you just have to be in it. There's nothing nobody's going to teach you or tell you. You have to try it, put it into practice, fail, try again, rebuild, try something new, jump on Zoom calls, get ideas, try that, So that's kind of what I did.
It's funny you say that, because you're right. Like I didn't start in 2000. I started in 2015, but there wasn't really much of people teaching you the quote, the agency model. Like a couple of people, Ty Lopez, I believe he owns the trademark. Social media marketing agency or something, like he owns the trademark for whatever that is, right? SMMA.
Yeah.
And so, but it was very new. And so people knew about the business opportunity. They didn't know about the business, about the nuance and what would happen. Like, all of these client behaviors or patterns, nobody knew really about that. And so it was learning by doing, and when there was a problem, like, hey, this lead quality sucks, there wasn't like a place where you turn to and people were like, well, we figured out lead quality. It's like, you had to figure it out. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I remember those things. It's difficult. And then rates and all these different things that you didn't know how to solve.
Yeah. And so, and then there's like this, the retainer model, the pay-per-show model, and all these different models.
I did all
that. And we evolve, we adapt, and there will be future models. But so when you started in terms of the agent, you were back, you started a long time ago. So did you just do the retainer model for a while? What different models have you done? Before we talk about what you're doing today, what have you done previous to what you're doing now?
So I started, and I still believe from ground zero, the best way to start is offer a free trial, get results in exchange for a testimonial and a referral, and then make them pay moving forward. That's what I did. Because
so do you still do that, by the way?
No, I don't do that any longer.
Okay. All right. I was going to say, I thought you said you still believe. You mean when you're starting?
When you're starting, I believe
that
is the best way. Give somebody a free trial, prove your model. Because I did a consultation with a business the other day that said, hey, we want to launch an agency in this niche. We want logos, and here's our brand, and here's our ideas, and here's all. And I said, guys, you haven't sold it to one person yet. You don't even know if it's going to work. You haven't implemented it at all. So before you go through all this work and add all these expenses to your credit card and do all of that, just get one person on a trial and prove that it works.
Yes, exactly. Okay, so Sorry, I wanted to make sure I was clear on that. I wouldn't think that'd be a terrible idea, but I understand why you don't today. Okay, so start out, give them a free trial. Sorry, I interrupted you.
Yep. So start out, I gave them a free trial, got a video testimonial, a Google review, and then a referral. And then when the person who refers me, I charge them $500 a month for the same service.
Got it.
Or, the person they referred me to, right? And then I do the same thing, and then that's how I grew my revenue. And then I started charging as I got results and I was able to take less trials, I would charge more. And if people were reluctant at all, my sell was like, okay, cool. Don't pay me for the first 30 days, but you owe me a video review, a testimonial, and a referral afterwards. Cool. All right. And so then I did that, and that's how I just got my first once I got to $8,000 to $10,000 a month, that's when I was able to, get some motion going. And I hired my Facebook ads guy. That was the first person I hired because I don't ever want to do a Facebook ad for the rest of my life. Thank God for UpHex.
Well, you don't have to. You got UpHex.
Yeah, exactly. We didn't have it back then. It was a nightmare.
Yeah, no kidding. Okay, so that's actually a really great strategy, by the way. If you're starting out, it's almost like a downsell. You go forward with the price, and you're like, listen, it seems like this is a challenge for you. Why don't we do this? I will give you 30 days of this advertising to make sure that it works. But in exchange, I expect these 3 things. If you'll do that, then I'll move forward with you.
And they pay their ad spend, so you don't lose any money.
Right.
Also, if you're very smart and you get them on GHL to do this model, which you should have a snapshot that's very simple, easy for a 30-day trial to onboard, you then get the rebilling too. So you're going to make $100, $75, something like that on the text messages as well. So it's not a complete loss, right?
There you go. Yeah. All right. So started out there. Is the retainer model, did you do that up until the SaaS model, or did you do anything in between?
I did the pay-per-show model. And it basically boiled down to, I probably would have continued the pay-per-show model if it wasn't so complicated to track. And then because I don't like the individual charges coming into my account, the accounting, and it was harder than it needed to be. Remember, I want operation freedom. I'm not trying to do accounting all day. Yeah. And then the second challenge with that is that so many people did it and burned so many businesses that every time I talked to them, they were bent out of shape about that offer. That offer was just pounded. It's pay per show. So then I was like, I've always been the kind of guy that I don't want to approach the market the same way all my competitors are. So right now in the fitness space, everybody's saying, sign up in the first 90 days, I'll get you $30,000 or 50 new members. I'm like, well, that's not the offer that I'm bringing to the table, because every time I get on the phone or I get on a call, I hear, oh, you're going to be just like those other guys. I get 10 of these messages a day. And I'm like, here's what you don't know. I'm not going to be like that guy, because here's the way we do it. So for me personally, I think one of the number one things you could do is listen. If you listen to your audience, listen to your consumer base, and you hear what they're saying, and that's actually how I found my pitch and my offer that I'm now running with. I stopped forcing what I thought they wanted, and I started listening. I was like, wait a second, lead generation isn't your real problem, actually. Your real problem is nurturing and efficiency and staffing and all these other things. And how can I take the GHL tools and fix those problems, or apply it to that challenge that you're having and really get you to see, here's your actual problem, right? And so that's kind of the way I pivoted, by listening and, deciding that I didn't want to do the same thing that everybody was doing in the market, because I came into this industry bent out of shape at the way agencies treated clients. I thought they were scummy. We're taking 50% of the ad spend on the back end. We're inflating our numbers. We're, dancing around all these different results we weren't able to hit. And I was like, I'm not going to be scummy. I'm going to be a legitimate person. So when I hear those other offers, I'm like, I'm not doing that, man. I don't like the way that sounds. And, if you don't reach the goals, then we won't pay you for 90 days. And I know I've signed up for that before. I have that signed up right now. And when they didn't hit the results, well, we'll keep working for you, Rick. And I'm like, okay, but what happens if you work for 6 months and you still don't hit it? Well, we'll keep working for you. For how long? And so what ends up happening is I paid all that money up front, didn't get the results. 6 months later, I still have the headache, and there's auxiliary charges for all these different services you're running for your nurture sequence. So you're still losing money. So then I was like, man, I'm not going to approach the market that way. I'm going to approach them very genuine with a great offer on how I can help them and grow their business. And I think it'll be successful. And it has been. They see, most of the people that I sign up, they see that they're like, that guy's being legitimate. He's not trying to oversell me. He's not trying to dupe me. He's not trying to scam me, because most of these people that you guys are talking to have tried somebody before. And the reason why they're not doing digital marketing right now is because they've been burned. So the first thing you have to do is earn their trust. Once you earn their trust, tell them how much you care, how much you know, then they give you the open opportunity. They open up, they take off the shell, and then you can really learn about their business and help them grow.
You know, it's funny because that is like one of the really telling things that I will see an agency do when they're running ads to get customers. I'm like, you know, what you're saying is the same thing that everyone else is saying. And when you're going B2B, so it's one thing when you're going B2C and you're looking at ads, you're like, oh, well, I want a swipe file. I want to build up a knowledge base of what's working right now. And maybe I can take that and learn what calls to action, what scarcity, what urgency they're using, and use the ingredients as a model and then create your own based off your skill set. But then I see people doing the same thing with B2B, and I'm like, listen, you got to be at a different frame of mind, because any market, we'll take for example the pay per show market, pay per show market, yeah, that one. That market, that offer, when it came onto the market, was red hot.
Yep.
Right? It was so red hot. In fact, there's a couple of people that in the agency space were nothing. Like they had like zero track record, hardly at all. But then they really, boom, they exploded because of that offer. But it's kind of like that thing. It's the sizzle before the steak. Mm-hmm. A lot of these companies bit into that juicy looking steak and they're like, oh, man, what is going on with this? It is not going to work, right? And so that then becomes noise in the marketplace.
Absolutely. Great way to describe it.
Yeah. And then noise and assumptions are the enemies, especially of B2B advertising. Like you're trying to get clients saying the same things and offering the same offers and promising this, like what you said, the 90 days and $30,000, all this kind of stuff. First, I don't think that's compliant. I think if the FTC wanted to come after you, I think they could just nail a dart right between your eyeballs and you'd be cooked. You can't offer money like that.
That's right.
But that aside, it doesn't help you because you start looking like all of these other people. And so what you want to do is you want to aggregate all of that behavior and say, this is the noise. What can I do to be contrast, to put into contrast this thing? And sometimes that means leading with a lead magnet that is like a slow burn. Sometimes that means leading with value in a different way. Sometimes it could mean a lot of different things. But if it's monkey see, monkey do. I see these people doing this, therefore I will do the same thing. That is the amateur approach. And I tell you what, all you got to do is look at it, come up with a couple of different angles in contrast to that. And that's your first step into the big leagues. You know what I mean? Yep. All right. So,
but I don't blame people for doing that. If you're starting out in the very beginning, you should be looking and trying to copy somebody who's being successful and doing the best you can. But again, you're in the business of you. So like add your own little flavor, your own little flair to it, your own little style to it.
Yeah, no, I agree with you there because we do say model what works, right?
Right.
But a tactic known is a tactic blown. So just be aware that a lot of these models, if they were working for an agency, it doesn't mean they're working now, like these offers.
And I also I think what's really important, and I'll give you guys some insight, is like I build my offer based around what I want to execute and what I want to be responsible for. So me personally, I've been running Facebook ads for a very long time. I do not want to be responsible for Facebook ad results. I've done it long enough to know lead quality's bad. They don't show. That's my entire conversation for the first 3 years of my agency. And I wanted to shoot myself in the head. I was done with that. So if I tell them in 90 days, I'm going to make them 30 grand, do you know how stressful that is for that 90 days to make that amount of money? That's why I don't want to promise that. So like the thing I love about UpHex and GHL and all these things I'm doing is I personally in my quote unquote offer has nothing to do with results. Nothing to do with return and revenue. We're going to make you 30K and we're going to double your membership base. And I never even talk about that. Because
all right, well, let's fast forward to your model today.
What I talk to them about is how I can make their bit. So one of our taglines is the end of the agency era. So we're an all-in-one solution, and our main goal is to help you be more efficient, slash your overhead, minimize the amount of softwares that you're using, simplify them, and execute at a higher level. So in return, are you going to get ROI? Absolutely. You plug and play any kind of system like this. I tell people all the time. I have customers that say, well, I just don't know if it's going to work. It's a text and an email. It's going to work. Like there's no magic science or sauce behind it, right? So the way I approach them is, look, I'm going to help you be okay, let's go back to the number one problem. The number one problem in the fitness industry is staffing. They hire 20-year-old kids. They train them how to be salespeople and how to nurture leads. The people don't want to do it. They hate their job. They're lazy. They quit. They hire a new 20-year-old, 90 days training, retrain, fire, quit, hire, fire, quit, hire. And that's all they do. So then I'm Mr. GM. I'm like, well, how often do you look at your sales reports and how often do you meet with your membership base and try to upsell? And he's like, man, all I do is train and hire and follow up with these kids, and these kids don't want to do this. And that's all I hear is these kids don't want to make calls and these kids don't want to do this. And I just sat back and listened. I said, that's the problem I need to solve. But guess what? I didn't change my product. I changed the way I talked about my product.
Yeah.
So now I said, hey, listen, I have a couple of employees for you that work 24/7, that never call in sick, that never miss a holiday. They speak your language, they speak your brand, they say the right thing every time. They're speed to lead. They follow up 6-7 times. They make sure the appointment, blah, 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 the whole spin. Right? How much value would that mean to you? I even guide to discover. How much time do your people spend right now? How many? You have 4 of them? How much do you pay them? How often are they making calls? 3, 4, 5 hours a day. Okay. How many calls do you think they're making? How many texts do you think they're making? Oh man, they're lazy. They might do 5 an hour. 5 an hour? So then I do the math and I show them, and it's a no-brainer. Like, man, for $1,500 a month, you can replace one of those guys and they do the work of all of them. And it's consistent. It's reliable. You have transparent. You can trust it. You don't have to train it. You don't have to give it HR. You don't have to, right? And then that's kind of how I paint the picture with all of these services. Same thing with UpHex. Hey man, does an agency run your ads right now? Cool. How often do you meet with them? Meet with them twice a week? How do you get your ads? Oh, they have to send them to you? Okay, how do you get your reporting? Oh, they send it to you? Do you understand your reporting? What kind of results are they getting you? What if you need to make a change? Oh, it takes 3 days for them to make a change? How much do you pay them? $750, $1,000 a month? What if I told you you can save that $1,000 a month? You can run agency ad levels, agency ads at in our system at the same level they're performing at, and you have full control. Within 3 clicks, you can launch it yourself. And they're like, huh? And I said, you no longer have to meet with that person anymore. You don't have to worry about reporting. I got the reporting right here. Not only is the reporting tied to cost per lead, which is very important, but now I have your sales data too, because we're integrating to your system, and I can tell you how many Facebook ads you actually sold. So now I have cost per sale, which is way more valuable than cost per lead. And it sticks to your brand. They can't go off brand. They can't go off targeting. You're in full control, and you can launch it yourself on and off. If you have a season where you need to launch, you can launch. If you want to turn off, you can turn it off. And you can see everything I can see, and you're in full control. And that's part of me talking to them about, like, take your business back, take ownership of your business, pull it all in one place, make it simple, because all of these people have experienced hundreds of dashboards, and they all got dashboards, and they all got reporting, and so they just want simple and easy and all in one place and concise and effective. And I think with the GHL mixed with UpHex and some other tools we have, I mean, that it's like the perfect offering in my opinion.
So that's awesome. There's a bunch of threads I want to pull on there. But let's just, in simple terms, your model today, if you were to say, and we don't have to go into your niche, because I feel like one of the things that people do, as soon as they hear a person talking about their niche, they're like, oh, I'm going to go do that niche, but it's less about that. And it's more about model. Talk to me about, and we have a little bit, but just maybe a little clarity on the model that you're deploying right now.
What do you mean by that specifically?
Yeah, so you have a customer that comes in and they have a specific problem with a specific outcome they want, and you deliver it to them based on how? Like, you're doing done for you, DIY, a hybrid, your terms, those kind of things.
This is something that I highly recommend with your pricing. For me personally, because I have already reached that level of revenue where I can say no. I'm at the point where I can say no now. So I don't do done for you anymore unless they pay a ridiculous price. If you're willing to pay that ridiculous price, I'll do done for you, because then I'm directly responsible for the results of the ads and things like that, right? So normally we have a starter package, which is CRM only, nurturing, chatbot, GHL, full deal, all the way out. Our middle tier price has UpHex included, and then also has unlimited graphic design and video editing, because we use Level 9. You guys check them out. Joe Rare and those guys, they're awesome.
Yep.
I mean, the margin on that is ridiculous, because you're paying them $500 a month. And listen, guys, there's another thing too in this middle column. Me and my co-owner talk about this all the time. He's like, man, you always offer that free graphic design and free video editing. He's like, one day somebody's going to take us up on that. I'm like, but they haven't yet. So I added that value piece in there, and these people don't need graphic editing or graphic design, but it looks good on the sales pitch. And I have yet to this day, 3 years later, not one request yet. I hope my customers aren't listening because they're going to start requesting it. But it's just a great value offering. And they're like, oh, you're going to do it all. And then they never ask you for it, right? So that's my middle column where they do it themselves. We basically do done with you. So we're going to onboard the entire model, A to Z, I'm telling you guys, white glove your customer for the first 60 days, period.
Yeah, totally agree.
Period. The biggest mistake I ever made was try to automate the entire process. Big mistake.
That's a big misconception. That's a myth right there that needs to be busted in the high level community, in like the SaaS community. In this SaaSpreneur thing, everybody wants to like offload, and everything is like, we just want to scale. We want to scale. It's like, dude, you don't understand people.
Doesn't work.
Right? They have to adopt and use your platform, or else they go. That's it. Like that's actually one huge myth that I'm glad that you brought to the table today, because this is a thing that they'll sign up customers. Maybe they're good at sales. They'll sign up customers and then they'll think, maybe they've got great ads, like they're doing good, but boom, the person churns right after the second or third month. They're like, what's going on? You're not using it.
It doesn't even matter how well you performed. It doesn't matter. Customers that I absolutely crushed it for.
Yeah.
I got him $185 Facebook leads in the month of February at $5 cost per lead, and he canceled. And I told him, I was like, you're insane for canceling. But the reason why he canceled is because I didn't talk to him. Yeah. Somebody else called him, a buddy, started talking to him, sweet talking him, buddy, I'm going to work with you, blah, blah, blah. They built a relationship, and there he goes.
Yeah.
Because people want to continue doing business with people they like. So when I went into that all SaaS model and I pulled myself out, gigantic mistake. Lost many, many, many clients and had to rebuild. So now we do a done with you service. We're going to onboard them. We also find like really strategic partners. You know, I've recently found, I started with the cheap model of like, let me hire VAs and low level employees and just teach them and train them. But I'm now of the model of hiring A+ players to take certain positions and let them run with it. So my operations manager, he's an A+ player. He owns multiple gyms. He crushes by himself. I'm the A+ player in the sales. I crush by myself. I have another young lady who works with us who does the account management. She crushes by herself, and I don't have to babysit her. She knows the right thing to do at all times. And so I think that's a better way of approaching it. So one of the things we talk about all the time is, do I want 100% of a little or 30% of a lot? I want 30% of a lot. And so if I can find two other strategic partners that are great at things that I never want to do in my life, now we have the perfect trio. We can do our thing, and we've exploded because of that, because we can all focus and maximize the thing that we're really best at. And it's what we love and enjoy. I don't like account management. I don't like operations, but I'm sick at sales. You put me in front of the computer, I can do this all day. And my coworkers hate that. They don't want to be in front. Perfect. Cool. Do your deal. Right. So yeah, we do a done with you model, set up A to Z, white glove, overly meet with them, overly communicate with them. And then as time goes on, you can kind of back that off. And so we do check-ins every 30 to 45 days. We have that automation set up in GHL where they get text and reminders, hey, how things going? Just want to check in. 1 to 5, how are we doing? So that we can get ahead of some of the problems we have. And because that's a big thing too. Like when you don't communicate with these problems, some of these customers will have a stomach ache in month 1, and the stomach ache turns into cancer by month 3. And then when you find out they have cancer, it's too late. They're already on their deathbed. And so you have to find a way to listen, interact with them, and hear, I hear problem, I hear trouble. That sounds like money leaving the bank. I'm going to start focusing on this client a little harder, right? And you can't do that if you're just worried about scaling, right? So I approach the market, and one of the things I tell people in my sales pitch is, hey man, listen, I want you to know that you're not just signing up for a software where we send you the software, give you access, give you the training, and say good luck. That's not how we operate. We are working alongside with you to give you our best practices. We're going to coach you. We're going to be for you. We're going to be on your shoulder. If you need a meeting, if you need this and that, we're there for you to coach and consult. We have an academy you can listen to. You can watch the same thing I'm going to tell you on a Zoom call. But if you want to text me, text me. If you want to email me. But we're here to support you. And that is gigantic. So you mentioned earlier somebody about, people coming into your niche, right? Somebody hearing this and saying, oh man, fitness must be the one. Good luck. Good luck. You can go into fitness and try to do it, but I'll tell you right now from talking to all my customers, Gym Genius doesn't matter, GHL doesn't matter, UpHex doesn't matter, Rick matters. You can't beat me. Good luck, right? Because when I talk to my clients, that's what I hear, because I listen to them. Man, Rick, I'm so glad I finally meet a genuine person. Man, you really care. Man, you really know your stuff. Man, it's not about my company. right? And so now that's why I'm trying to replicate that with my team and get them to I say, hey guys, listen.
That's where I was going. That's where I was going, because a lot of people will get stuck into the, hey man, I just bought myself a job, right? And I felt like that for a long time too. And what it comes down to, like the culture, if it carries through. So like you're not the account manager, right? But when you're done with the sale, you also don't say, okay, you can never talk with me ever again. If you need to, you can reach out to me. But when that baton gets passed to whoever's next in line, they take the same relationship and the same care that you just took. And now you're not beholden to that person, because now the customer has two people that they're like, oh, I can go to two people. And then they go on to the group training, right? And the group training has a third trainer. They're like, man, there's 3 people that I can go to get help.
And they're all savages and all badasses and all speaking the same language and all support each other and we use some of that. Like, that's why it was important for me. I've had a bad account manager and I've had a good one. The bad one was cheap that I tried to force into a position because I thought it'd be good. And the good one was somebody who asked me to do it because they love it. And that was a significant difference. Yeah. So once I saw her, my account manager, and I worked with her and I trained with her, worked on the side, I was like, oh, we speak the same language. You take care of my number one most important value proposition in my business is world-class service. If we don't lead with world-class service, then we don't have anything else. And all of the people that work with me think that same thing. And then it also gives you the ability, people call me and complain. I talk to them like, yeah, man, you know how employees are. Don't worry, I'll whip her into shape, dude, blah, 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 blah. Hang up the phone, I'm like, Michelle, like, what are you doing? I'm like, come on, it's all good. Don't worry about it. But then the customer's like, yeah, I talked to Rick and Rick's going to handle business. And then, we take care of it. So
there is actually a psychological strategy about that, where you become outraged and then the customer, I can't remember what it is, but the customer's like, no, it's not that. It's okay. It's okay.
They do that all the time. Yeah.
Yeah. Let's move forward to this 15 grand in the week over the weekend using, with UpHex. Let's fast forward to that. So one, you're a sales savage, right? You love sales. By the way, that's one of my easy hacks. If you want your agency to grow, partner with a salesperson, because both of us are salespeople. We love sales, right? I hate backend. I hate it.
Same.
So, I got my Jacob, and he's a savage at that too. And he just goes out and crushes it. It's like, dude, I'd rather have 50% of a watermelon than 100% of a grape. So that's like, if you want the quickest hack, is find a Rick.
Yep.
Find a Sam. Find a counterpart. If you're the person who likes to be quiet and in the back and messing around with the product, dude, just find the counterpart. But let's go to the 15 grand, because even a sales savage is going to say 15 grand a weekend. That's that's a lot. 15 grand. And by the way, it's not revenue. It's monthly recurring revenue that you set up in a weekend.
All right. That's just in this upcoming, we've already collected the money this month.
That's awesome. So walk me through it. Just as much as you care to, as much as you're willing, walk me through doing that.
Sure. So far, my lead sources are cold email. I'll tell you, I don't care the vendor. I'll support them. A company called Hey You. They run cold email for me.
Okay.
I have another company that does Instagram DMs.
I'm gonna write this down. Everybody, if you're watching, write this down.
Email.
Okay.
Obviously, there's a lot of expense up front. That's why your pricing is very important. And I'll tell you, from talking to all of my clients, they all say my pricing is low. And I know all of you guys listening, I've heard this 1,000 times. Raise your damn prices, period. Raise your, I don't know what they are, but raise them. I guarantee you're undercharging. Also charge onboarding fees, very important, because most of the work you do for the system comes on the front end. Have them doing cold email. I have a guy named Marcus Pizarro doing Instagram DMs.
Does that work?
It does.
Instagram DMs?
Definitely works.
Really? Still, huh?
Yep.
Okay.
All the other 3 demos I have today are all from the Instagram DM guy. And so basically what they do is they make a bunch of accounts with women on there, change their profile, and then message all these people and get them excited, right? So we got Instagram DMs. And then my other only source of leads is referral. So I get referral from other clients. One of the biggest things you can do, to me, like the number one source of leads is networking. Network in your niche, get to know these people, get exposure. I'm telling you, I've had 3 strategic partnerships throughout my period of different people that it's funny because they like, some of them fall off because it never works out, but they carried me to the next stage. They gave me just enough revenue to carry me to the next stage, right? So I just found these right partners that said, hey man, I love your program, I want to sign up. And I know this other guy who's got 36 gyms and I think you really should talk to him. And you get one of those guys and I think that strategic partnership and networking is probably the most critical. That's how you spread the fastest, in my opinion, without a lot of expense. If you have somebody who can invest in ads and invest in all this, go right ahead. But I bootstrapped this company and I didn't have that kind of money to do that.
Yeah.
So yeah, run the ads, book a 30-minute demo. On our landing page, when they book the demo, they get a quick 10-minute highlight of the system and service and offering so that they can kind of get a general idea of what they're getting into. And also I want to shorten my demos. I don't want to do hour-long demos anymore. And so I give them kind of a precursor. Here's what we're about. Here's what we do. And then when you jump on, we can talk more specifics about your business.
Do they watch it? How many of them watch it?
A lot of them.
A lot of them. Okay.
Yep.
And when you're going through,
that's what got them excited. They watch the video and they're like, oh, this guy's legitimate. Because in one of the emails, I love this. So on one of my cold emails, the guy came back and said, hey, I get 10 emails like this a day. This is a scam. Send me some real value and I'll consider it. And I was like, Pepsi challenge, brother. All right, let's do it. I clicked record and I said, hey, Chris, look, here's what I'm doing. Here's what I'm about. Here's my system. Here's how it works. Here's how I can grow your business. You're going to love it. Boom. Send him the video. And he's like, wow, I never expected anyone to actually do that. Finally, you put some real shit into that video, not just like, if you really want to grow your business and let's think about mentality and having the right mentality, all that crap that people like to pitch. I just got straight to it. And he was like, that's real. Okay, cool. Let's sign up and then kind of go from there. That's kind of what I did in that video to show them that like, I'm not BSing around. I got some real stuff. I know your language. I know your business.
So the pre-demo video that you have them watch, like, give me the pillars, like your benchmarks. Are you talking about the current pain that they're going through and then demoing, or do you just go straight into the demo? How are you doing it?
Sure. So I don't even care if you guys see how I do my pitch. So I'll give you the idea. So the way that I approach this is I made my presentation, I call it the 5 steps to becoming a gym genius. Okay.
Yep.
The first one is enhanced lead capture. So I have some tools on the front end of the website. Chatbot,
yep,
missed call text back, visitor match, and a couple other ones, things that enhance what you're doing on the website. So I tell gym owners, hey, the first step before you do anything is let's make a better net. Let's make sure the traffic on your website is converting and we're capturing traffic that you already have. That's enhanced lead capture, right? The second step, and there's some other tools in there that I'm not going to tell you all about, but that's a different one. Step 2 is, okay, great. We enhance your lead capture. Step 2 is re-engage and remind. So I'm going to tell you about our text blasting, how we do our nurture sequences, the AI chatbot, how it follows up and responds. And so I have a pitch deck that I go through, and then I go into the system and show them an example of what it looks like and some workflows and things like that. And then step 3 is improve and increase your reputation. So your virtual showroom floor, your G&B, let me show you how we can increase your reviews. We're going to approach your old members and get reviews. If they're on trial, we're going to get, we're going to enhance your G&B. So we do part of our service is G&B enhancement, where we do the keywords on the back end and the posting and really basic, easy stuff that you can have a VA do. Step 4 is lead generation. So lead generation is when we get to UpHex. Hey, here's your current model. So part of what I do is, and I'll show you part of my deck. Can I share my screen? In each one of these pillars that I'm talking about in these stages, I have a pitch deck that says, hey, ad agency, here's the old way, high management fees, inconsistent result, turnaround time, back and forth. And I talk to them about this. I do what's called a guide to discover, where I let them guide themselves so they can hear their own problem, right? And then I say, great, here's the new way. You're in full control. The ads are built out perfectly. You're going to get blah, 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 and all the value propositions that go with UpHex. And that's kind of how I sell it, right? And then I have a quick little video that walks them through how UpHex works, or I take them into the system and show them, hey, look, let's launch an ad right now. Boom, 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 boom. And their mind is just blown, right?
Would you mind clicking on that video? The only reason I say that is because I suspect, and I can edit this out afterwards if you want. Let's see here. I suspect that it's
talking through it while we're playing. Yeah, it's a 2-minute video at most.
Yeah. So look, it's 58 seconds. Okay, so 1 minute. It's like people mess up there. So literally, you're just going through and say, click the ad, put in the budget, click on, and this is probably like you're saying, hey, if you have these issues, you can do this. Don't worry. But
Don't
it's
worry,
like,
you can change things. Relax. You can change things.
Exactly. Dude, look how quick that is.
Yeah.
Everybody messes up demos. They think the entire presentation is that. They think you're going to spend a half an hour doing that. It couldn't be further from the truth, right?
So here you go right here. Love you guys. All right. So currently right now, the guy you're running ads for, you have to have all these meetings. I sold him the old way. Here's the new way. Within our system, you can go down here to click and go ads. You have a resource library where you can download hundreds of thousands of images you ever need for your ads. You can do ad creative AI, so you can have ads and images built for you if you're not ready for that. We have training on how to use the tool and how to maximize Facebook ads and conversion rates and things like that. And then you can go to our ad launcher. When the dashboard opens up, you're going to have the ability to launch your ad. So you simply go to launch new campaign. Facebook, keep in mind, is also Instagram because it's owned by Meta. And very soon we're going to have Google. So you'll love that when that comes out. So you click Facebook, and then you're going to come through and look at your templates. Because you are a Rumble Boxing gym, for example, we're going to go ahead and pick Rumble Boxing. Your free class pass is the offer you typically use, and then you're going to get some ad copy examples. So typically what you're looking for here is what audience you want to target. So in your market, you may find that men work best, men and women, women only, whatever that case may be. So for this Rumble Boxing, we know women work best. You can have a look at the ads, see what it looks like, say, okay, generally speaking, that looks like an ad I want to run. It has all of our best practices as far as headlines, call outs, emojis, tags, things like that already built for you. And then you click select this ad. The beautiful part about you selecting that ad is the audiences, the demographics, the interests are already picked to our best practice that we know are going to work in your market. So simply, you're going to come in here and add your city name because that's one of the variables in the ad copy. You're going to put your budget. We typically recommend $30 or more if you actually want to take your business seriously. And then your website link, we're going to put a calendar link that we provide to you. So right when people opt in, they're going to book a lead and they're going to be booked to come into your gym and nobody in your business even has to talk to them. You pick your radius. If you're good with our best practices and you trust us, click launch campaign. If you're still unsure and want to make some checks, you can scroll down here to add media. You can look at the templates, upload your own if you'd like. You can look at some of the client media that we've uploaded for you, or you can use our templated media. It's really up to you. Then on the ad copy, if you scroll down and you said, you know what, Rick, I love your ad copy, but I don't like this part you said about the Rumble trainers. Hey, no problem. We can just delete that out. And then you come back up here to the top, you click submit, and within 3 to 5 seconds or 3 minutes, it took me to launch a professional ad agency that I would run for you, but you don't have to pay me $500 to do it, and you have full control. So now that you've launched your ad, you'll be able to come back to, I'm just going to go to another one that actually has one running. I switch between accounts all the time, guys. They're not worried about that. And so now I can come back once I've ran some ads and I see, hey, here's one of my ads that's running. It has my daily budget of $50. Here's when it started. It's currently running. If I want to turn it off, I can. I can also expand it and look at the ads I'm running. So now I don't have to ask the guy, hey, send me what ads are we currently running? Let me see what it looks like. I don't have to do that. I can just click preview and I can see it myself while I'm sitting here, right? Imagine how much time that's going to save you going back and forth with another guy, right? And so you look at the ads and say, beautiful. I love the way that looks. Awesome. Great. Now we've ran your ads. We're getting your results. Things are going. Where do you go next? Hey, we go down to reporting. And that's when I go back to one of the other accounts that's performing really well, right? And say, let me give you an example of what that looks like. You come to Facebook ads, in a few minutes, it's gonna load. It takes a minute to pull in all the data from Facebook. But the beautiful part about it is you never have to go into Business Manager ever again, and how much time and effort that's gonna save you, right? So you can see this is the campaign we launched for this gym. Their cost per lead is around $17-20. You can also see that they have sales. And you wanna know where your Facebook leads are? Cool, just click the icon, you can look at it, right? Which is actually weird that this looks this way. Look at that. That's wild, right? Something happened here.
It's crazy.
Yeah, I gotta look into that. Yeah, there's the normal way. So there you go. You can see all of your leads, right? And if you want to see your sales, because we're tied into your CRM or you mark them as one on our platform, we can then see how many you sold and what your cost per sale is. Beautiful. And then I would say, now you're going to ask me, well, where do those leads live? And then I take them into the opportunities, the pipelines, the communication, and then that's how we carry.
That's
awesome. That's kind of a little UpHex pitch. And I
love it, dude.
It's exactly how I say it almost every single time.
Oh, I could tell. I could tell by the way you were just rambling on. I'm like, this is exactly how he pitches it. So let me, for everybody that was watching that, if you're like, oh, well, that's great for Rick, that's awesome. You want it? We started out maybe 15 minutes ago, and he was talking about listening to his customers, right? Listening to their complaints, listening to all that. Every line is based off of a micro story, right? They're like the thing you said about instead of like reaching out to the agency to see what your ads look like, you just click this thing right here. right? So you have like an objection checklist.
That's right.
Right?
That's right.
And like this is the power of listening to your customer. You get done with the demo call, you're like, okay, their question was, how do I see my ad copy? I'm write that down. You go to your pitch deck. By the way, pitch deck, how dope are pitch decks, right? You go to your pitch deck, you write in the script, you're like, okay, remember that for next time. And
that's how
editing, refining, just like that.
And so now it gets to a point where they can't even ask questions because I'm answering the questions as we go.
You know what's funny? I've been teaching people about pitch decks, right? Because it's like, hey, you have your sales script where you're just on the phone call with them, but I much prefer the pitch deck. Why? Well, a couple reasons. Number one, on the phone, you're using, like, you have to be a ninja at hearing where they're going and assuming where you should go, you know? So you're trying to almost solve an equation where you don't, I wasn't good at algebra. I sucked at it. It's like X. What does X mean? Solve for X. It's like, dude, I don't know how to solve for X. Just take me plus 2 = 4. I'm good with that, you know? And with the pitch deck, if you have the qualified person coming through, they are going to have the same story and want the same outcome. That means all of the rebuttals in the middle are going to be pretty dang close. And all you got to do, people, when we talk about sales copy, sorry to be bouncing around. You got so much stuff going in my head right now.
Yep.
Like people talk about sales copy and writing bullet points. The reason you write so many bullet points is because of what you just did in that pitch. You're like, yeah, if you're worried about this, bam. If you're worried about this, bam. If you're worried about this, bam. You have an inventory.
That's exactly right.
Time before they ever come up. By the time the person gets done, they're like, well, I got nothing. I got nothing for you. But
and
I do want the outcome.
First by writing those out.
Yes.
Right. So one of them, and I skipped this screen, but it's just the very, 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 very beginning of like overall in the fitness industry, what are your real challenges? And I even tell them, I said, look, when I started this business, I thought lead generation is your problem. It's not. Staffing efficiency, training circus, follow-up, lack of urgency, over-rejection to overcome, average response time, expensive agencies, too many cooks in the kitchen, huge learning curve, constant up, right? And then I let them talk. And what they're hearing is, this guy understands my daily struggle every single day. That's what they hear. He's not just selling me what he thinks he needs to sell me. He knows my real struggle. And then they're like, tell me, Rick, tell me what, go, and then after that, it's just.
Yeah, I call it deconstructive copy. Is if you can articulate their problems, and in some cases better than they can, they're like, the only way that this guy could know all of the stuff that he's telling me right now is if he's been through it, and guess what? He's probably solved it. You solve it, you infer. You don't even have to say you solved it.
That's right.
You just have to recognize it. You're like, hey, see, I'm pointing at all the monsters in your closet. And you're like, dude, how did you know all of that stuff? And all of a sudden, you just became the authority on that thing. And so you're not selling, you're advising.
People ask me like, what do you do? And I used to say that I own 2 marketing agencies, but now I'm a marketing consultant. I just consult, give strategies, give advice, right? Okay. And that also comes from asking questions in the very beginning that I already know the answer to. So I ask them, hey, what are you currently doing for lead gen? Okay, so when a lead comes in, and it comes in your email, do you forward an email to a guy or do you follow up or how's that look? Well, yeah, if they come on their shift and, depending on what hours somebody picks it up and they call them and I'm like, that's not very efficient, is it? He's like, no. And I was like, do you think they're getting it to them fast? No, they're kind of slow at it and they only follow up a couple times. They don't really like it. He's already feeding my system with all of his answers. And then I say, great, I'm gonna change your life. Let me show you how this works. Boom, and we transition. He's like, wow, that is the problem that I'm trying to solve. Because what I tell him is, and this is the new part of my pitch, is I don't want your people working in the building who I consider high value because they're humans who work in your business doing low value tasks. And following up on a lead that's not committed is a low value task that our system can do for you. So now your staff can work with members. They can work with no-shows. They can work with people who showed up for a trial but didn't buy. People that are actually shown second level interest in your business, that's where I want them spending their time. Not on this person who's gonna ghost them that may be a bad. So one of the rebuttals is Facebook leads are bad quality. Well, I get these people that never respond. Awesome, that's not gonna go away. But the difference is my system is gonna focus on them, not you, and you're gonna focus on the responders. And then they're like, oh, that makes sense. Because if you try to tell them my lead quality is gonna be better, and you're not gonna, good luck with that, buddy.
I did the same thing. I made that same pivot when I was pitching agency services. I said, listen, our system is going to do this, but when it brings them to their book and they're ready for a call with you, that's the only thing I want you to do. Is make the call with the engaged people, the people who have raised their hands and they've passed that threshold. If you can do that, then you'll have great success with our system.
And then so that's awesome. You're going to get better results. And then I tell them, now imagine how much happier your staff is going to be that they don't have to do these mundane tasks that they hate, in which it gives them a bad attitude when they come into work. That bad attitude carries over to your customer base. And now they don't treat your customers the same way because they're bent out of shape about that 3-hour cold calling job they had to do. Now you take that away from them. Every day they come in happier. You take care of your employees. They take care of your clients. And they're like, oh, I see. And so that's kind of how I painted the picture for them.
I love it. Last thing, curious about the close of the deck, the close of the $15,000 monthly recurring revenue. Anything fancy about your close?
This is all you need right here.
You guys are watching this. This is a very transparent, hat in hand interview. I mean, this is better than a course you buy.
Guys, I have absolutely zero secrets because I live in a world of abundance. There's 17,000 gyms out there in the world. Mike Ars has 2,500 and he's balling. I only need 500, 700. You can have the other 13,000. We're not in competition. Not to mention, customers are going to change every year. Every 2 years, I don't care how good you think you are, they're going to switch for something else. So we're just going to pass clients around. It's all good. Just give me yours. I'll give you mine.
That's the truth.
It'll be fine.
That's the truth. That's actually a really interesting way. Yeah, sometimes despite your best efforts, people are just like, you know, I remember I was just telling this, huh?
I don't fight it.
Yeah. It's like, oh, all right, sounds good. We'll see you back. And they come back. We'll see you back in a couple months.
Now, this is a partnered landing page that I'm showing you, so they get special pricing, so don't worry about the pricing necessarily. But I always take them to this screen where I show them the 2 packages. Say, okay, partner, here's your packages that you get. You got your starter pack without UpHex and the graphic design. Here's your starter pack with UpHex and graphic design. This is the thing that closes them on the call.
Hilarious.
How much is price going up? This one's going up to $9.97. This one's going up to $14.97. Okay, well, send it to me right away and we'll make a decision before the end of the month. And I'll tell you guys, like,
your onboarding fee, do you put it right here?
No, I don't. I don't put the onboarding fee. I talk to them about it. It depends on how many locations they have and things like that. But I do tell them down here, here we go. I took it out. But monthly pricing does not include ad spend and SMS usage. So I have the onboarding pay on the next page. And so then based on the relationship, if they have multiple gyms, I give them a code saying, hey, enter this code and it'll wipe your onboarding fee. Otherwise, it's $4.97 or $9.97, depending on what package you sign up for.
Okay. I would do the same thing. Like I would ask my team, I'd be like, hey, I need a coupon code. I need something on the call to give them.
Yep.
So it's like, hey, this is good for, like, you have to have that scarcity and urgency. So you have scarcity by the May. I love that, by the way. I'm going to use that.
You just change it every month.
I love it. So you have you have the urgency there, then you have the scarcity, and you have to have those things. Like, I know they feel gimmicky, but people will be content to not take action until later if you don't have them. And so when you have like a coupon code, it's like, hey, you know, it's this much, this is the details, and you explain where everything is going. Now, if you use this code today, this is what I'll do for you.
I tell them,
you to take action. Go ahead.
I tell them it's 72 hours. The coupon code lasts for 72 hours because it could be a weekend, it could be this, it could be that. And also,
you know what's interesting, Rick? I'm going to stop you real quick. Here's a very interesting insight that you just gave, and I also had the same thing. When I was, quote, closing, I would try and get them to close like right then, you know? I would give them the coupon code, I'd send them the link. I'm like, here you go, this is ready. Are you able to do it now? I would do that. But if they were like, hey, I need time to think about it, or I need a whatever, I actually was okay with that. I didn't like push the issue. I would be like, awesome. This code is good for 36 hours, like whatever. And like 85% would close still.
Because you're desperate.
What's that? Yeah, because you don't come off desperate. So many people, like so many sales coaches or whatever, they're like, close the deal, close the deal. It's like, dude, I don't like being closed like that.
It's a turnoff.
To me, it's a turnoff.
Yep.
And so I would do the exact same thing. And so my kind of evolution with that was I eventually was like, you know, I do need like a tether cord. I need something to have. If I have my assistant or somebody follow up with them, or my system follow up with them. It needs to be connected to a reason why. Hey, your coupon code expires in 24 hours. Let me know if you have any questions. Something along those lines. So it's like, hey, I'm not pushing you. I'm on to the next. But so many salespeople are like, close them, close them, close them. I'm like, dude, no, don't close them. Like, have the conversation, help them decide, and then be normal. Give them the link and say, awesome. And they'll tell you when they're going to close. They'll be like, yeah, all right, I'm going to do this after work. I'm going to go do this, whatever. And they do. If you just chill out, they do. Sorry, go ahead.
Yep. And so I put them through. So I do the same exact thing. Listen, if you're confident in your product, they will feel it. So in my opinion, if they don't close or they're still super unsure, or later on down the road, they never sign up or never give you attention, you never hear from them again, then you didn't do a good job on the demo. Because my demo is so impactful that they're like, honey, like, we got to do this now, right? Like, we can't wait. I mean, May 1st is coming. Like, we need to sign up and get our team started and get rolling. We can train them. And that's the energy that I always feel of, like, hey, how do we, and I tell them all the time, I'm like, hey, listen, man, I know I have a great product. I know I have a great service. I know I have a great price. I'm not going to chase you. I'm not going to follow up. You have my phone number. You have my email. If you're interested, send me a message. We're glad to get started, but I'm going to send you the demo. I'm going to send you the pricing. I'm going to send you the sign up link, and then we'll go from there. Cool. Nice and soft close sale. I'm not too desperate. And then when I send that follow-up, I always tag one of my referral customers. And then I say in the email, hey, by the way, I copied Jim. He owns 6 locations and so, in case you have some other questions about in the gym execution that could help you. And then
you send them the demo call, like the recording of you?
No, I send them the short, the 10-minute short that I also include.
Okay. So you have the demo call like on a pre-video and then on a follow-up. Got it. Okay.
Just because there's always, well, I need to talk to my COO about it and my GM, and I want to get him involved, and I don't want to do another demo. So I'm like, hey, I got the short 10-minute that goes over the highlights, and then you guys can talk back and forth about the different values that we talked about. And they're like, yeah, I'll talk to them about it. We'll be good. And I keep it simple. I'm trying to make my job easier, right? And then I just tag one of my clients in the email, and my client always responds with, hey, Jim, this program crushed it for me. You're going to love it. Here's some of the values that I saw. Love Rick. Trust me, you're going to love it. Boom. And I have that social proof every single time on every follow-up email.
All right. I have one last question for you.
Sure.
Only because I feel like people, if they're really watching this, taking notes, they feel like they're drinking from a fire hose.
Yeah. Sorry about
right?
that.
No, dude, I think it's really a testament to all of your grit and hard work and sticking to it. You're delivering a ton of value. Getting client outcomes. If you had one piece of advice, because it's really great to sign up all this stuff and do all this stuff, what would be one piece of advice you would give to an agency who's watching this and they're like, this sounds good, I feel like I can execute on this, I want to feel like I can get my clients outcomes, because that's what they really pay for? What would you give in terms of one actionable thing or one piece of advice so somebody can say, okay, this is how I'm going to take my next step towards delivering outcomes to my customer base?
I think one of the best things you can come up with is what your actual offer is, and keep it simple to what services you offer, and really truly figure out, like, when I talk to my clients, what is a win to us? Hey, Rick, if in the end of I had a client I just signed up the other day. He said, do you think we can get 3 members in the first month? I said, absolutely. That's the goal, 3 members, 100% we can do that. And then I did the math in my head of, okay, here's how many customers, here's how many appointments, here's how many leads, here's how much you need to spend. I know my average results. I can get that as long as we do X, Y, Z. But I think the best thing you can do is have a simplified snapshot that you know that does the basic things of brings in a lead, nurtures the lead, gets them to book, gets them to show, gets them to close. And then if you have training and support based on that, keep it super simple. One of the biggest mistakes I did was trying to add all these extra fancy things when that's not really what drove the end goal and the end revenue, right? Is keep it super simple. And also know that most of these clients that you talk to, like, they're not even doing the basics. So if you there's nothing better than talk. Like, we've been doing this for a very long time. So to me, the stuff I'm doing is elementary. Like, this is just the basics of marketing. But your consumer doesn't know that.
Yeah.
And so when they see it, they're like, whoa, this is incredible. And you could do this and you can do that. And, if you have all the excitement and passion, I think you can drive that home. But I would keep it super simple and say, these are the things that is one of the things that really helped us. We scaled back and said, hold on, what kind of business are we trying to have? Okay, we want a SaaS model, but we realize that SaaS, the way they sell it, is impossible. We got to have done with you. Okay, so if we're going to do done with you, what are the things that we can set up that are automated to where we don't have to do that much work? We spend a little time on the onboarding, but then after that, it kind of just runs its own thing. Well, the best way we can do that is UpHex, not running Facebook ads, because when we ran Facebook ads, I had to train a person and I have to do all this creative and I have to follow up with reporting and I have to check the connect and all that crap. So we can do UpHex. They can, if we build out the onboarding the right way, they can set it up themselves. Okay, so we'll build out the training and the onboarding so we can automate all of that. Then we'll have a nurturing sequence. The snapshot will automatically load and we'll put in a lot of custom values. So then they can go into the custom values, fill it out, and then the system pretty much runs itself. We'll do one call to review everything and go over it and make sure it's perfect and build value and get them excited, train them. And then we'll just do check-in calls and we'll have a VA. So I have a VA on the back end who checks results. So they do what's called a deep dive every month on every account. And it's 10 minutes, how many appointments they have, how many contacts they have, how many users are logged in, how many messages are they sending, are they closing deals, are they making appointments, they put the numbers, cool. They check that box, they're good. If they log in and say, oh, nobody's logged in this month, red alert. Hey, Rick, we got a group. It's been 2 weeks, nobody's logged in, schedule a call, go, book. So keeping it simple, automated to where you can build a lot of value on the front end and let it run automatically on the back end long term, I think is the best strategy. I'm not trying to work in my business as much as I used to. So yeah, I'm trying to figure out automations on how to do pretty much everything. And if you go into the Facebook groups in high level, you'll see different ways of using custom values in the funnel to where when you load the snapshot, it automatically loads their colors and loads their branding and loads all of that stuff. So if you spend a lot more time, like it all depends on what stage you're in, right? So to me, if you don't have revenue, you just need to sell. But once you get 5 or 10 grand and you're doing it, then you need to deep dive and say, okay, how can I automate these processes? How can I make these faster? How can I make these smoother? How can I, and then slowly start handing some of those stuff off to other people. So I think simplicity and automation is the key, right? Do for yourself what you're promising to do for your customers.
Yeah, keep it simple.
Yeah, keep it super simple.
Keep it simple. All right, man.
So if you haven't made 100 grand a month on your core service, you have no business going into any other service. You haven't even proved that what you're doing works.
Yeah.
Right?
No,
but then people want to do websites and they want to do, I don't even offer websites. Too complicated. It takes too long. I don't want to do all that. Right? I want my snapshot to load, them get their login and then run.
The customer wants customers. Your client wants customers. So give them the straight line to do that, and that's what they'll pay for. That's the outcome they want.
And stick to your guns. Actually, if I was telling you, if I could do anything all over again, when you're onboarding your client, set your expectation. When you onboard, I tell them all the time, hey, listen, when you pay, a thank you screen is going to load. It's going to have my video. You're going to watch that video. As soon as you're watching that video, do not leave that screen. Click on start onboarding. You fill out those 6 forms, you book those 2 appointments, and then we'll take over from there. Okay, great. After we get through all of that, hey, Rick, how do I get to support? You're going to go to our support system. You're going to submit a ticket and somebody's going to follow up with you. But what if I want to text you and call you? You're going to go to the support system. You're going to submit a ticket and somebody's going to follow up with you. And I stick to my guns on what our processes are. Because if you don't, you're going to be running ragged and they're going to be texting, hey, Rick, can we change my offer? Bro, I'm the owner of the company. I don't change offers. Send it and submit a ticket, right? Things like that. So, whatever your strategies are, whatever your processes are, stick to the T. Don't let one customer break it, not even for a second, not even for a special occasion. I promise you, they're all going to have special scenarios in which they need a break here or change here. Or I've heard all that. Cool, life gets in the way, bro, but this is the way we do it. If you want the results that I talked to you about, this is the way we do it, period. If you don't want to do it this way, we're not going to be a good fit. Oh, shit, no, I like that, Rick. Okay, cool. So stick to your guns, I'm telling you.
Do what works, and then do it again and again and again. So you're a black belt in jiu-jitsu, and now you're a black belt in the agency game, baby.
I'm going to stay a brown belt and have brown belt mentality. So in jiu-jitsu, we always talk about a brown belt mentality where you stay hungry. Because once you get that black belt, you're like, fat cat, I'm good. And that's the mistake I made. Hey, made my first 30 grand a month. I'm profiting 20 grand. I'm good, man. We can coast. Big mistake. So keep that brown belt mentality of always being hungry, always chasing the goal, and good things will happen.
I love it, dude. All right, man. Appreciate you. And thanks for being so candid with all your answers and everything, dude. I think everybody watching this is probably like, I need to watch this again. I need to take more notes. And maybe we'll have you back, of course.
And feel free, guys. If you know me, I don't hold anything back. I have nothing to hide from you. I'm here to help you. I started with absolutely nothing. I started with crying in my car about the 9 to 5 that I absolutely hated. I want to help you. I want to give you the freedom. I thought about this the other day, Sam. I was driving to jujitsu and I was kind of just reflecting on my life and where I am. And, I'm driving, and guys, I'm not flexing at all. I'm driving a Tesla. I'm a black belt in jujitsu, about to go teach kids jujitsu at 5 o'clock. My Stripe is blowing up with thousands of dollars being deposited in my account. I'm listening to the radio, relaxing, and I started crying because I just thought about, like, fucking made it, bro. This is the life I always dreamed of, right? Never be mad about the life that you dreamed about. 10 years ago, you wish you were where you are today. Yeah.
That's why that sits right there.
It really is, man. And so I just appreciate it.
Dude, I couldn't echo your sentiments more. I have felt that exact same moment. And if you're watching this, you haven't felt it yet, keep going.
For sure.
You're on your way.
We talked about this. I come from a very poor home, very poor family. And me and my mom have always been humanitarians that did more for others than people did for us. And her and I would have private conversations all the time. And one of the things we always say was like, Rick, one day it's going to be our day. Mom, one day it's going to be our day. If we just keep staying the course and believing and doing, like, one day, if I just stay the course, it's going to, and like, we're reaching that day.
Awesome, man. Awesome. Appreciate you, buddy.
Yes,
Thank
sir.
you so much. Thank you.
Awesome.
All right, man.
Thanks, guys.